I rode my bike to an appointment about 8 miles away the other day on my e-bike here. And when I was getting ready to come home, found that the pedals no longer engaged, which meant that I couldn't help the motor work anymore. The motor did, however, still get me home just fine. After a little research, figured out I needed to replace this clutch, and that's most likely what was making it slip. You might be able to pull this off with a simple multi-tool. It has all the sizes you need, but it'd be much easier with a full kit like this, or as long as you have the multi-tool and a crank arm puller, you should be fine. Start by taking off the crank arm with the 8mm Allen wrench. Once you remove the crank arm bolt, you can try to remove the crank arm without a crank arm puller, and you may find that's difficult or impossible. Crank arm puller is a pretty simple tool. It'll thread into the crank arm, and then as you tighten on the bolt, that'll basically push it right off for you. The puller I'm using actually has an adapter on it, which was for a larger diameter, so I had to pull that cap off and in order for this to work. If I didn't remove that and I just tightened this in and then went for it, it would have just been fighting itself rather than actually pulling the arm off. So thread it in, and then once it's into the crank arm, that's when you tighten down the screw. Before you thread it in, make sure the screw is backed all the way out so that you can get the puller threaded in as deep as possible. So once it's off, it's easier to see exactly how this works, where it's threaded into, and then it's a smaller round bolt going through the square shape there that allows it to just push right off the spindle. Next, using a 4mm Allen wrench, we're going to take off this main gear. You don't want to take the chain off before this because it's actually helping to hold this steady, which some of them are pretty tight, so I still had to use a hand. But without the chain on there, it would have been significantly harder to hold on to. These are probably the tightest little bolts, hardest to get loose in this whole operation. Just always try to be pushing down, and it's a lot easier than trying to push it up. Once they're all fairly loose, that's a pretty good time to go ahead and take the chain off. You could leave it on still until they're all out, but you might get a surprise and maybe that derailleur would kind of throw it back and you drop it on the floor or something. So it just seemed like a safe time to go ahead and remove that rather than have to play catch with the gear later. Once all the bolts are off, that gear comes off real easy. Nothing else holding it on there. And then we'll go right into the next phase, which is taking off it's pretty much a cover. I think they call it like the metal drive gear or something like that. We'll get into that later. These are the same size Allen wrench as the previous bolts. Some of these were not tight at all and made me a little suspicious that that'd be a good source for water getting in, so maybe these need to be checked and retorqued every now and then. Once you have all those out, you want to separate this cover by just trying to pull it straight back pretty much. There is a thin gasket on this cover, which you want to be careful you don't damage it. When I pulled it off, it stayed put real easy and never got in the way, never got stuck or had any risk of damaging it whatsoever. Once the cover's off, that clutch is right there. Just pull it out, take a look at it, see what might have gone wrong on it. Right around here, I started to get a little suspicious that something else might actually be the culprit. The teeth were all kind of rounded, but there was only one that was actually like chipped and broken. Even though they were rounded, they didn't look terrible. They were all springing out like they should have been. Looked okay for the most part. Obviously, the newer one, you can see there's a bit of a point there that would grab the internal gear much better. But it seemed like there was enough damage on the old one, or just wear, that this would have been the problem still. It wasn't till finishing this all up that I discovered this was not the only problem. Make sure you use a high quality bike grease when you're putting this back together. Lubrication will definitely stretch the life of these parts by quite a ways. If I'd looked at this closer at the time, I would have realized that the internal gears were pretty badly worn too. There's not really teeth there, and even the staggered pattern kind of matches that of the broken teeth on the old clutch. But I still thought I was fixing the source of the problem, so we continued to put it back together, adding some fresh grease anywhere there's moving parts, basically. Put the new clutch into that plate before you put it back on. If you try to put the clutch on that spindle first, you won't be able to close the teeth in to get the plate back on. You'll just be fighting yourself. There's enough of a fight even with the clutch put directly back into that plate, as you have to line up a couple different gears, as well as the teeth on the clutch spindle, before it will actually close back together. Once everything's lined up, it'll just snap back very simply and be right where it's supposed to be. I start just putting back in the 4mm Allen wrench bolts that you took out previously. Go ahead and put all of them in before you start to really tighten any of them down, to make sure you don't have any issues lining up the holes in the bolts. Once you've got all the bolts started, I just go ahead and start torquing them down with basically the long end of the Allen wrench going in, and torquing using the short end, just so that I'm doing just a little bit of torque and spreading it around, making sure that goes back nice and even. Once they're all fairly tight, then I'll turn the Allen wrench around and use higher torque to do a final tightening. And it's probably a good idea to stagger, going across 180 degrees when you first start tightening these down, just to make sure it is going back nice and even and clamping down on that gasket perfectly. Work your way around all of them at least once, going all the way in a circle and torquing each one down just roughly equally. If you have a torque wrench, go ahead and use it. Next, we'll put the main gear back on there and the chainring, and same size bolts, 4mm. If you can, starting them just with your hands is always the best idea. They are kind of small and slippery once you got a little grease on everything. So if you're pretty confident in your mechanical skills, go ahead and start using an Allen wrench to start them. But as you can see, even though it sucks, I still try to get them all started with my fingers before I put a wrench on them. Just like previously, I use the short side of the Allen wrench to actually do the torque first, working every one of them around so that they're all kind of equally low torque before we start to really tighten down on them. Once they're all fairly tight, it'll start spinning the chain ring, and that's a good time to go ahead and put the chain back on so it'll help hold it while you torque them down. At this point, I thought I could check my work by turning the other pedal, seeing if it would lock and engage the way it's supposed to, and it appeared that it had. Continue working your way around all the bolts, making sure they're all tight. I think going around at least twice is good, but go as many times as you're comfortable with. Once you're satisfied they're all equally tight, it's a good time to get that crank arm on. Again, I put a little grease on there just because they can get really hard to pull sometimes. And it can be hard to tighten them on as far as they need to go as well. So it can only help you in both circumstances. If you've ever been on a bike that makes like a creaking noise when you're pedaling, oftentimes it's these crank arms that actually just need to be tightened down a little bit. It's a very simple fix to do if you have a bike that has that condition. I also greased the bolt before putting it back in for the same reason, that it's, a place that can see a lot of water, moisture, so that just helps to protect it and also make it easy to come off later when you need it to. Don't be shy with these at all. It'll take a lot of torque probably. This is probably the hardest thing to tighten down fully. And you may even need to just take the bike for a spin and then check it again after that, and you'll find you can get a couple more turns on it too. And this was the moment of truth. It wasn't until now that it was very clear that the clutch was not my only issue. I've been surprised that it was something so simple that could be so easy to fix. I've had this for a few years, but I was still pretty surprised. It's my first mechanical failure, and it's not just the $25 part. It's an additional, somewhere around $65 part to finish this repair. Looking at this gear plate again, the internal teeth there are totally worn down pretty much, just ridges rather than teeth. This is a picture from the Bafang website that shows what the teeth should actually look like. And of course, it is sold out, not currently in stock either on their website. A couple things you can do to prevent this from happening to you is just use easier gears. If your feet are turning faster, it means there's actually less torque on all these moving parts, all these little gears. Make sure you shift down before you come to a dead stop so that when you are taking off, it's not seeing like super torque. The good news is the throttle and the motor still actually work, so you wouldn't be stranded even if this did happen to you. You would just be stuck with the motor only, so truly just e-bike, no pedal assist. and you can still get out and get some sunset shots. Another thing I'd like to share is do not use these connectors. If your e-bike comes with these connecting your battery to the system, don't trust them. They broke on me 3 times probably. Ever since I changed them out for these other, what are the XT60H connectors, very reliable, no issues at all. I still recommend an e-bike if you can afford one. It's a lot of fun, and you'll save a whole lot of money on gas, because this, you can get a 30-mile range out of one charge, especially once you're in shape. Thank you for watching. Hope you enjoyed.